Well, hi, good morning, and thank you for joining me in my shop here. It's June 2nd. It's a gray and rainy day here, so I have some time on my hands to work on a radio. I've brought this one in. So I don't know too much about this radio, other than I have been trying to operate it, and it will not receive anything on any band at any frequency. Moving all the knobs and controls makes no sound come out of the speaker. There's no clicking, popping, crackling. There's no evidence of life in this guy here. I would plug it in and turn it on and demonstrate it, but there's nothing to demonstrate, in fact. I am aware that the local oscillator is operating in the radio. I noted that by seeing it on an SDR display while I was messing around with this radio. And I've given it 3 or 4 chances to come to life, but no, not coming to life. So I have it here in my shop. The primary reason at this point is to try to get it working, not to restore it to top operation, but just to get it to operate. That could be a pretty involved process right there, but maybe not. Maybe it's something fairly straightforward. Oh, I don't know, maybe it's a blown tube. So that's what I'm going to attend to with this radio right off the bat is, does it have a defective tube in it? That would certainly explain its lack of function. It's a wonderful looking radio though, isn't it? The way the knobs are all balanced out quite nicely. It's nice to look at. Actually, it's a lovely design to look at. Performance wise, well, it's a great big honkin' heavy metal radio, and it looks like it should be a good performer, and yes, I'm sure it is a good performing radio. This would be a middle of the road towards the higher end of ham radio equipment. This would be a receiver only. A ham radio operator might use this as his receiver, but it's more likely this would be used as a shortwave listening radio. It does have a band spread. The band spread is calibrated for a number of ham bands over here. So you can see that the Hallicrafters was aiming this at the ham community. A little disappointing that the band spread isn't calibrated for broadcast bands. Has a BFO, so it can do single sideband, of course. And there's not too much else to say about it. There's nothing really fancy on this radio. If you notice the pointer or the needle is slammed over this way, that might be normal. It could be that while it's operating it's driven back this way. Or it's busted. We don't know. If you look at the back, so it has an adjustment here with the word 0 on it. This has got to be the meter zeroing adjustment. And here it's got speaker connections. There's no speaker inside it. And this is the antenna connection, and the link is in place for a long wire antenna as opposed to a balanced or loop antenna that you might want to connect here. This is simply nothing. This is just the back of this control. Here, I can feel it with my finger turning. So the shaft goes all the way through the radio and comes out the back here for support. It's a Hallicrafters made in Chicago. The model is SX-122. 85 watts when it's operating. And there's no other special message. And this is kind of wrecked up here. What this is probably the chassis number. It looks like it has a serial number on it, but no information. Okay, a lot of these radios have a top which can come off. This one's got 4 screws sitting here, so I'm guessing 4 screws and this top will lift off, and I'll have access to all the tubes inside. So let me get the top off, and we'll see. Actually, while I'm doing that, I'm going to talk a bit. So this is a video on a big radio, so I may be attracting some new viewers. If you're a new viewer and you're wondering what goes on my channel here, you're pretty much seeing it. I work away on these old radios. Nothing is scripted or planned or anything like that. I come in each day. I work for about an hour or so. That's about all I can take. And then I post a video with almost no editing. Look at these guys. Very lightly edited videos, and no fancy fireworks, no video fireworks or anything like that. What I mean is I don't do anything fancy with the videos. Okay, so let's look inside here. Oh, last thing, I don't know everything. I hate to admit it, but I don't know everything, and so sometimes I say things with certainty, but actually it's wrong. And other times I misspeak. I'm going to tell you about the red wire, but for some reason I keep saying green. I mean, this happens. So you got to be, when you're watching my videos, you got to be thinking for yourself. You can't rely 100% on me. So we got a nice clean radio in here. It's very clean. Interesting. We've got two tubes lifted up on top of some kind of a little mini chassis here. That's kind of odd. I wonder what's going on there. This doesn't look like your regular tube. The glass bulb is loose in the socket. That might be the weirdest looking tube I've ever seen. It's got a lot of writing on it here. We'll take a look at that tube first, see what it is. So the strings look beautiful. This is a wire here. Well, all the tubes are here. There's a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 tubes. That's a lot of tubes. 13 tubes, 85 watts. People who think these tube radios consume huge amounts of power, they really don't. More than a transistor radio? Well, more than most, but not all. Some transistor radios consume a lot of energy. They get warm. You can feel them getting warm. But yeah, there's no doubt these guys eat more electricity. Well, there's nothing jumping out at me, of course, so I think we're going to start with this very curious looking tube here. It's on this box, which has a serial number of its own stuck on it. Okay, I wonder if there's some... Oh, it feels like the whole box would come out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So it says here, HA7 calibrator socket. This is the HA7 calibrator. That's what this weird tube is. Can you see inside there? You can. I've never seen anything that looked like that. What's it say on it? It says Northern Engineering Laboratories, Burlington, Wisconsin, T9E, 100,000 kilocycles. Is that a crystal in there? 100,000 kilocycles. So it's a calibrator. This is probably just an amplifier tube. And this I think is a crystal in here. We've got to look into this. I've never seen a tube like that. You know, I've done hundreds of radios, and every radio is a surprise. Every radio teaches me lessons. You know, maybe that's an indication of how little is actually in my head. But well, I think I'm gonna leave this in here for now, and I'm gonna find out about it. I've never seen anything like that. Easier to see this way, maybe. Put the close-up camera on it. Let's do that. Bear with me a moment here. I have to change the focus on that camera, so just hang on a moment here. I'll give you the view. So all I'm doing is just calling up the camera dialog box, because the autofocus is really annoying on this camera, and I think most of them. It's very, very annoying. Oh, wait a minute. That's a little odd, what you're looking at right now. You know what I did? Focused the wrong camera. Okay, made a mistake there. Hang on. Okay, see, this is the part where I don't edit the video very much. You get to see all my mistakes and whatnot. What happened again? It's okay. Everything's okay. I'm okay. There we go. Ah, kind of weird how that operated. Now we're ready. Let's take a look at this camera. At this. Well, I see two what look like supporting rods on the outside, and then this inner looks like a popsicle stick. Some kind of material. Steel or balls, one of those metal balls. What the heck? Well, this is just the weirdest thing. It appears to be just hanging in space there. I don't know what they talk to. I think it is. I think it's just, it's hanging from these ball things. It's just hanging there, perfectly suspended, perfectly straight. Wow, that looks like a very, very fragile arrangement in there. Okay, I'm going to look for what I can find out about it. I'm sure I can find some information about it, and I will share that with you in just a moment. Okay, so I've looked over the entire internet, the whole thing. Not a lot said about these tubes. They were something that were found in Hallicrafters radios. I think maybe this is the only place. Sometimes they're referred to as the Hallicrafters T9E tube. It is possible to substitute all this with just a crystal, but it takes a bit of rewiring and a bit of circuit work to do it. No reason to think this doesn't work. It's just a calibrator anyway, and if I didn't even have it in the radio, it wouldn't stop the radio from working. You just wouldn't have the calibration feature. So best thing I can do with this is put it back in the radio, leave it alone. The test for the radio is, the test for this is to operate the radio and find out. I think that's the only surprise in here, really. Now the radio was pretty quiet, so output tube or rectifier tube. Now I don't see anything that looks like a rectifier tube in here. But I certainly see something. Well, I'll take that back. This looks like a rectifier tube here. I thought this might be the output tube. Yeah, that's a rectifier tube. 5Y3. Yeah. We're going to start with this rectifier tube because it's a good place to start. Got to start somewhere. And the radio made no sound at all. That could be no high voltage at all. So I'm going to check that rectifier tube next. Now I don't plan to test 30 tubes or whatever it was on camera here, but just this first one, because he's quite likely a bad actor. 5Y3. Okay, 5Y3. I'm just going to double check here. 5 volts on the filament. 07030. 07030. P060, P060, 25, and E. We're good. Let's see if the tube is good. Now in this case, for this tube, when I do the leakage test and I get around to spot number 1, which is over here, the meter should go all the way up. That's normal. Otherwise, the meter should not move during this test. Oops, there it goes. Okay, that's fine. Now to test it, we push this button, rectifier and diodes. This is a rectifier tube. It's got to come up past where my finger is pointing right now. There's an indication on the dial face here. Okay, it's got 2 plates. That's one. That's the other. She's golden. Okay, so this is not the problem. It's something else. Something else, and there's a lot of tubes to work through. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work through these tubes here. Over the course of today. There we go. Wow, that's a lot of them. And no particular order. Okay, let's hope I find 1 or 2 that are dead. That would be good. Well, I've tested all the tubes. They all test good. Very good, in fact. And except for one tube I couldn't test, and that's the voltage regulator tube, the 0A2 tube, or OA2. I could test it, but I don't know how to interpret the results on my tube tester. So it's a voltage regulator tube. I don't think it can be responsible for the set being quiet. What could be responsible is maybe I hooked the speaker up wrong. Whoops, I see this lead is falling off. It's just possible that I did not have the speaker connected correctly. No, this is the antenna here. Make sure that's correct. Okay, so the speaker connection's right here, and it's definitely correct now. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's all it was all this time. I just didn't have a speaker hooked up to it. Okay, which would explain why there was absolutely no sound coming out of it. So off, switch, audio, antenna tuner, band selector, so it will go on the broadcast band. I'm going to turn this on in a moment. RF gain will set just about maximum. I'm connected to an outdoor antenna with a good strong signal on it. So we should be able to hear something if it's working. Okay, and the selectivity will set it open as wide as possible. Automatic noise limiter off and calibrator off. Okay, let's fire it up here. There we go. You can see I've got it going through the dim bulbs for no good reason. I've had this operating straight in an outlet already, so I don't think we're gonna dilly-dally here. I'm gonna keep an eye on this meter. Look at that. Thumbs up on that. I hadn't noticed that before. So I guess I played around with this radio 2 or 3 times. 0 output every time. Let's see what we get this time. Having pulled all the tubes out and put them back in, that may have solved a tube contact problem, which could have been the cause of the silence. Must be warmed up by now. Hey. Hey ho. Hey hey. So we're on broadcast band. String feels funny. Now, are we on the broadcast band? We are not. We are above the broadcast band now, in an area where there's nothing except noises. Let's go up a band. So probably by doing what I'm doing, I'm probably mechanically moving some parts a little bit, and their spacing is changing a bit, and the tuning is... I could be flexing almost anything in this radio doing this. So I don't think it's of any significance. We're a 4.8 to 12, starting at the 4.8 end. She's a working radio. Sorry, I got this wrong. Got this wrong. That's full volume too. We started, leave that there. We started at the 12, so we're at 12 megahertz here. Where to go? Fade out here. Antenna tuning. Very sharp. You expect to find something up in this area. This is 11 megahertz, is it not? Band switch. 4.8 to 12. So we're up around 11. We should be hearing stuff. Now, a lot of weird things happening on the sun these days. It's possible a combination of weak radio and no signals available. Wow, this is very critical here. This tuning knob. Not much to see in the back of the radio now. There we are. Not a lot of volume in this. Selectivity. Oh. Got some pretty good alignment problems here. Sounds like a feedback. So that's a very strong shortwave station there. And we're lucky it's there to be gotten, or else I don't think I'd hear anything. Let's go up another band. This goes all the way up to 34 megahertz. We're up around 25. Turn the volume up, gain up. So that's around 27. Hey, maybe some CB stuff here. No. No, let's not go looking for that. Let's go down here around 17. Strong shortwave stations. String just popped again. There was some kind of string problem in there. That doesn't sound right. Bad news. Anybody? There's string pop. This light is flashing, or is that my eyes doing it? No, that light is flashing. Way past 15. Thirteen megahertz. There's a international, European broadcast band. Often has strong signals, including from North America. I need to keep an eye on this antenna adjuster. So everything's full blast here. Well, it's doing something. I mean, it's doing nothing up until now, and I think I'm going to assume I didn't hook the speaker up correctly. But that's led me to test all the tubes, so now we know all the tubes are good in here. And what's the problem with the bottom band? This is probably one of the bands I concentrated on testing too. Nobody home. Very good. Okay. Well, I can play around. I love playing with these radios. I can get carried away here during the video. So I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, which is get this thing working. It may have amounted to connecting the speaker correctly, because you know, I can be pretty stupid at times. Did manage to test all the tubes. Discovered this very interesting calibrator tube. Calibrator tube, do you work? Let's give it a try here. I'm going to guess we go on. Ooh, that was pretty exciting. Single sideband. And we will flip on the calibrator. I hear something, and now we look for it. So it should be 100 kilohertz. I mean, there's something going on. That's good. 100. Okay, so what band am I on? So I'm on the wrong band to do this. Let's do it on this band. So this is the second band up. So we are at roughly 1. Ooh, that was exciting. What was that? That's it. Oh, this radio's got a lot of funny stuff in it. Just try something here, which might be helpful. Any piece of paper. You can read the numbers. There. That's better. You don't need this. Okay, well, if we say this is 100 right there, 100 would be at this here. Yep. That would be here. Yep. It's a calibrator is a calibrating, even though it's making weird sounds and the like. So that's great. I'm going to return this to my listening spot. I'm going to play around with it, get a little more familiar with it, and then it'll come in for a tune-up and a fix-up. Now who knows who's worked on this thing already? Maybe it's completely fixed up. Maybe it's all original. Probably based on its performance, it's probably original, and there's some capacitors in there that aren't doing their job anymore. That's why we're getting feedbacky sort of stuff and motorboaty sort of stuff. Yeah, very good. That's it for today. I have other things to do now. So tomorrow, I think I'll continue with this radio. Pursue it. I don't think I'm going to put it in a listening spot. I'm going to pursue this a little further now that it's in here and I've started on it. Fantastic. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.